So the next thing that we're going to look at is solving word problems with 3 variables. So we're still going to use elimination. So it's the same method that we've been working on. Just now we're going to start from a word problem. Okay. So doing your word problems, you're going to start by defining 3 variables. You're going to write 3 equations and then solve them using elimination and write our solution as a sentence. Okay. So we got a high school. They won a track meet. There were 20 individual event placers who earned a combined total of 68 points. First place finish gave 5 points. Second place gets 3 points. Third place gets 1 point. They have as many second place as first and third combined. How many athletes finished in first place? Okay. So basically the way this is set up is that there's a whole bunch of different like events that happen, right? And depending on, if you win, every time you win, you get a certain amount of points for your team, right? So that's kind of what's going on here. So if you win first place, you get more points. And if you win second place, you get less points, that kind of thing. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is define our variables. If you look at what the actual question asks you, that's going to give you a clue as to what your variables are going to be. So we want to know how many athletes finished in first place. So one of my variables is going to be the number of athletes who finished in first place. Okay. And then kind of by like extension there, you can sort of figure out based on this problem that the other 2 are going to be how many athletes finished in second and third place. Okay. So you can use whatever letters you want here. Sometimes it makes sense to use X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it makes sense to use like in this case, first, second, and third. So F, S, and T, right? So you can use whatever letters you want. This one, I shy away from S's and T's because they tend to end up looking like other things. So I think I'm just going to use X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to say that X is the number of first place winners. And again, I'm getting that because the question is asking me how many athletes finished in first place. Okay. Y is going to be the number of second place winners. Okay. And then Z is going to be the number of third place winners. Okay. All right. So we've defined our 3 variables. Now we're going to write 3 equations. Okay. So we're writing 3 equations using our 3 variables. So the first thing that we know here is that there were 20 individual event placers. So there are 20 people. Okay. And if our variables are how many people, how many people, how many people, right? All I have to do is add up all 3 of these how many peoples, and that'll tell me that there were 20 people total, right? So my first equation is just going to be that when we add up how many first place winners and how many second place winners and how many third place winners, there were 20 people altogether. Okay. And I pulled that from here. All right, the next thing that we know is that there was a combined total of 68 points. So this one, we're talking about points. So we're going to need to consider how many points did each of these people win? Well, every first place winner won 5 points, right? So if I take 5 and I multiply it by how many first place winners there were, that's going to tell me how many points we got total for first place winners, right? So 5 times the number of first place winners. We want to add to that every second place winner, that's Y, got 3 points. So we're adding 3 points for each Y. And then every third place winner got 1 point. So we are adding 1 point for each third place winner. Okay, and that worked out to a total of 68 points. All right, and then the last thing that they tell us is that there were as many second place finishers as first and third combined. So the number of second place winners, that's Y, was the same as the number of first and third combined together. Okay, you got to be kind of careful with those equations. Okay, and that is my system of equations that we're going to have to solve. Now, the first thing I'm noticing is that this guy is not set up like the other ones, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transform him. I'm going to subtract the x from both sides, so it'll end up over here, and subtract the z from both sides, so it'll end up over there. So I'm going to make it negative x plus y minus z equals 0, because now this equation is lined up like the other ones, and that's going to make my life easier. All right, so then just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and name these. I'm going to call this one heart, I'm going to call this one square, and I'm going to call this one smiley face. Okay, and I'm going to use these to do an elimination. Let's see, I'm thinking that I'm going to start by canceling. Oh, let's cancel the x's. That looks like that's going to work out pretty nicely. right? Because I've got a 1 and a -1 and a 5, so that's going to work pretty good. Okay, so let's go through and cancel these. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to worry about smiley face and heart. And all I have to do is add those together, right? So I'm just going to do smiley face plus heart. And I'm going to cancel the x's. So smiley face was -x plus y minus z equals 0. And then heart was x plus y plus z equals 20. We add those together. These guys cancel. That adds to 2y. Those also cancel. Okay, well, that's interesting because that's actually going to help us out a little bit because already I know y is 10. So we kind of get to skip a little bit of a step now. So this is going to actually kind of make our lives a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the next one. I'm going to eliminate the x using the next pair of equations, but then we're going to be able to shortcut a little bit. Okay, so I'm eliminating the x's, right? So if I use these two, I'm going to have to multiply this one by 5, right? So I'm going to do 5 times smiley face plus square. Okay, we could have also done like -5 times heart plus square. That would have worked too. You've got plenty of options. It's just there's many roads that'll get you to the same spot. So I'm going to get -5x plus 5y minus 5z equals 0. And then let's see, I'll copy square below that. And add these together. Those cancel. That's 8y. Those add to -4z, and that equals 68. All right, and then the nice thing is, right, because again, like normally we would take these two equations and we would use them to cancel out another letter. But because this one already has the z canceled out, I can kind of skip that part and just start plugging stuff in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, we'll call this one star. Okay, so I'm going to plug this y equals 10 into star, and that'll let me solve for z, right? So I'm going to plug y equals 10 into star. So I'm going to get 8 times 10 minus 4z equals 68. So 80 minus 4z equals 68. See, if we subtract the 80 from both sides, that's going to be -12. So then z equals 3. All right, one more step. Okay, the last thing that I need to do is I'm going to plug these two into one of my original equations. It doesn't matter which one. You could even go with like this original one before we changed it over. It doesn't make a difference. You could do it either way. I think I'm just going to go with the top one. That looks pretty easy. So now I'm going to plug into heart. So heart says that x plus y plus z equals 20. So that's a pretty easy solve. X is going to be 7. All right, and then from here, instead of writing our answer as a point, we're going to write it as a sentence. Okay, so you're going to go back and you're just going to attach what we defined our variables as to what our answers were and kind of put the thought together. Okay, so we said x is 7 and x is the number of first place winners. So I'm just going to say that there were 7 first place winners, there were 10 second place winners, and there were 3 third place winners. Okay, so there were 7 first place winners, 10 second place winners. I totally spelled that wrong. And 3 third place winners. And there we go. Okay, so that is what we are looking for with these guys. So again, you're solving by elimination. This one, it was just because of the way this sentence was set up, this equation, right? It happened to work out that 2 variables canceled, and that let us shortcut a little bit. That might happen sometimes. It won't happen all the time. A lot of times you're just going to solve this like we did our elimination problems that we've been working on.